amidst the chaos of battles that often transcend space and time, where the fate of the world teeters on the edge of uncertainty. There always emerges a transcendent figure, a beacon of hope for those in need, shrouded in radiant gold. This is Supersonic, the ascended form of Sonic the Hedgehog. Supersonic harnesses the incredible power of the 7 mythical gems known as the Chaos Emeralds to transcend himself into this elevated state. Pulsing with the life force of the universe itself, Supersonic has the temporary gift of supersonic speed and invincibility. For a while, we thought this was the apex of Sonic's power. But as it turns out, the power of Supersonic is only the beginning. It's been proven on multiple occasions that it's entirely possible to transcend this form. How is this possible? What is the true ascended form of Supersonic? And is it possible to go further beyond even that? Welcome to chaomix, and this is what lies beyond Supersonic. Supersonic wouldn't first appear until Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where he would be an unlockable in-game transformation after collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds. All totally optional too. I remember being a kid and beating the game as base Sonic since I wasn't all too great at the special stages. But oh boy, when I finally got good enough to beat those special stages, unlocking Supersonic felt like uncovering a secret layer of the game. I also hear that giving this video a like and maybe even subscribing to my channel uncovers another secret layer. No, but seriously, the #1 way to support my channel, and for free too, is to like and subscribe. It only takes a couple seconds of your time, and I'd be really appreciative if you did. Anyways, it's a total power trip and probably one of the most satisfying in-game unlockables out there. Being able to blast through at blazing speeds, destroying enemies upon touch, there's honestly nothing like it. Since Sonic 2, Supersonic has mostly been a mainstay unlockable, sometimes usable in the main levels of the games, and other times taken control of for the final boss battles. Or in the case of Sonic and Knuckles, both. Supersonic was kind of a big deal in this game. I mean, it's the very one that extended the lore of the Chaos Emeralds with the Master Emerald after all. But Sonic and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 and Knuckles specifically, was the first game to give us a peek at what lies beyond Supersonic. Since you were able to combine Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles using the Sega Genesis's lock-on technology, and both games had their own set of 7 Chaos Emeralds, if you play through the duo of games continuously, it was possible to collect all 7 in Sonic 3, and then power each of them up using the Master Emerald to create what was called the Super Emeralds in Sonic and Knuckles. And collecting all 7 of the Super Emeralds would have Sonic enter a form ascended even past Supersonic known as Hypersonic. Hypersonic dazzles in an ever-changing spectrum of vivid colors rather than the static golden aura regular Supersonic has. But it's not just his looks that separate him from Supersonic. On top of still being invincible, obviously, he's even faster if you can believe it. He also has a double jump that literally kills everything on screen, and probably the funniest advantage to Hypersonic is the fact that he can't drown. Yeah, you probably don't really think about it, but Supersonic, as invincible as he may seem, can still drown. But Hypersonic has a catch. As awesome as he was, he only ever appeared in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Out of every game to come out after, Hypersonic or the Super Emeralds were nowhere to be seen, leading many to question whether or not he was even canon. I mean, you could only get him by combining 2 games together using some insane Frankenstein technology. As a matter of fact, according to an interview with series director Takashi Iizuka, the only reason Hypersonic exists is because of McDonald's. Yeah, I'm dead serious. You see, Sega and McDonald's had an agreement to release a set of toys for the debut of Sonic 3. And as a result of this hard deadline, Sega was forced to essentially break the game into 2 so they could ship out at least half of Sonic 3 to release on time for these toys. Thus, Sonic 3 was split into 2 separate games, and it forced each game to have its own set of Chaos Emeralds so the titles could still be enjoyed by themselves. So these 2 sets of emeralds that transform Sonic into his hyper state only exist because this McDonald's collaboration forced Sonic Team to split Sonic 3 into 2 parts. Absolutely wild. Anyways, Hypersonic's existence wouldn't go forgotten, nor his absence unnoticed. For a very long time, Hypersonic was regarded by fans as Sonic's most powerful form, even if it was MIA, and there always remained a strong urge to see its return, or maybe even see it topped. Meanwhile, there were a few additional transformations Sonic would achieve throughout the years, like Darkspine Sonic, Excalibur Sonic, and even Dark Sonic from Sonic X. But similar to Hypersonic, these were total one-and-dones and would never appear again. Also, all of these forms were more so side grades to Supersonic rather than upgrades. Instead of building on top of Supersonic's powers, they had their own set of unique abilities that set them apart. It would be the comics that attempted to innovate by directly ascending the Supersonic form in their own unique ways. As one example, the Archie Sonic comics tried out a form called Ultrasonic. Harnessing the energy of the power rings rather than the Chaos Emeralds, this form grants Sonic the ability to control the atoms in any non-living thing, allowing him to manipulate the elements. Because of this, there are 3 known distinct subforms that Ultra Sonic can tap into as he adapts to his environment: Solar Sonic, Polar Sonic, and Eco Sonic, each controlling that respective element. The Fleetway comics also expanded Super Sonic's capabilities with a corrupted version of the Ascended Hedgehog, dubbed by fans as Fleetway Super Sonic. Unlike the heroic Super Sonic from the games, Fleetway's version of Super Sonic becomes a malevolent entity, thriving on chaos and possessing immense destructive power. His strength is set to surpass that of Super Sonic due to his ruthless aggression and lack of restraint, making him an uncontrollable force of annihilation. Now, it goes without saying that the Archie and Fleetway Sonic comics are non-canon. None of these forms ever appeared in any of the games. So when it came to official Sonic canon, fans were still left wondering what could possibly lie after Sonic's initial super state if Sonic Team was going to be so adamant about ignoring Hypersonic. Years went by, and instead of seeing any expansion of Super Sonic's powers, it actually seemed like Super Sonic as a whole was being phased out. There would be entire mainline games in a row that wouldn't even touch the iconic form for the climax of its stories, like in Sonic Colors, Sonic Lost World, and Sonic Forces. They even considered making players pay for Super Sonic as DLC in Sonic Forces until they got backlash and released it for free. And this was after the game already came out. Super Sonic was a complete afterthought. But thankfully, there was a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Sonic Frontiers was announced, and it seemed like there were hints of some kind of new form. A lot of fans, including myself, theorized that Sonic would take on an entirely new form caused by the cyber corruption taking over Sonic, teased in the trailers. Perhaps something similar to Fleetway's Super Sonic, where the corruption takes over and causes Sonic to become temporarily evil while possessing destructive powers. Perhaps it would be up to his friends to neutralize him and free him from its control. Perhaps he would be able to overcome it and use it to his advantage. After all, especially since Super Sonic would be utilized several times throughout each zone's boss fights, it seemed like the only way to raise the stakes by the end was to have Sonic truly ascend to the next level. But Frontiers would release, and while it certainly portrayed Super Sonic as more powerful than ever before, the end of the game left the majority of players disappointed. Not only did the climax of the game not up the ante with any new form or ability, since Sonic's cyber corruption just magically disappears due to the power of friendship, the second phase of the final boss would have this super out-of-place bullet hell styled gameplay, not even utilizing the playstyle of regular Super Sonic. Sonic Team fumbled the bag hard, and fans were left scratching their heads onto how they could have set something up so perfectly for success and then completely lose it by doing absolutely nothing with it. Later on, it was confirmed by Ian Flynn, one of the writers for the game, that he actually proposed a return to Hypersonic during the final battle, where Sonic would call upon the deceased Ancients and Coco to lend him their power. But ultimately, this idea was shot down by Sonic Team. Apparently, according to series director Takashi Iizuka, the reason we don't see Hypersonic anymore, or any ascended form past Supersonic for that matter, is to avoid what's called the next tier power-up trope, which is when a character gains a new level of power, surpassing their previous limits with the risk of rendering them obsolete. And as an avid Dragon Ball fan, I can very much confirm this is a real thing. Too many forms definitely waters down the impact of previous forms, so I do totally get why this is something to watch out for. But even so, the desire for something beyond the iconic Supersonic transformation was still longed for among the community. Things were once again looking bleak. That is, until the Final Horizon update for Sonic Frontiers came along and changed everything. Right out of the gate, the trailer for the Final Horizon update teased a brand new form, Supersonic, with an electric aura and neon blue eyes. Fans were quick to dub this as Super Sonic 2, an obvious reference to Dragon Ball Z's Super Saiyan 2 transformation. After all, the Sonic series has many ties to the Dragon Ball series, something it tried to shy away from for the longest time. But now this, on top of some of the abilities Frontiers had Sonic doing, I think it's safe to say Sonic is finally back to its Dragon Ball Z roots. And I wouldn't have it any other way. The Final Horizon turned out to be the answer to many fans' wishes. With the DLC providing an alternate ending sequence to Sonic Frontiers, many of the wrongs had the chance to be corrected at last. First, Sonic simply suppresses his cyber corruption rather than having it magically disappear. And yes, this will be important for later. But once Sonic reaches Supreme, instead of it playing how it does in the base game where the battle gets taken to space, Supreme unleashes a brand new form fueled by the End's powers. A form not even Super Sonic can put a dent in. However, during the course of the DLC, Sonic learns to control his cyber corruption and uses this newfound power to unlock a brand new form during the End's boss fight. That same form with the glowing blue eyes from the trailer. A form to finally transcend Super Sonic. This new form is able to absolutely manhandle the End and make it seem effortless. With a slew of new moves and the ability to swipe away any incoming attack with ease, Sonic is able to set up Supreme for the final blow. But it's here where perhaps the most interesting thing of all happens. As Eggman loads Sonic into a cannon to be shot out to deal the finishing blow to the end, he once again transforms. This time unleashing all of the cyber corruption built up inside of him to take on a new form fans have been very quick to identify as the very cybersonic form we had all theorized. This form is portrayed to be a step further beyond even the blue-eyed form achieved just moments ago, as Sonic completely obliterates the end by piercing straight through it. It's only for a brief moment and it's gone, but the fact that this DLC had not one, but 2 additional forms definitely more than fulfilled plenty of people's dreams. So earlier, I called this form Supersonic 2, and it's what a lot of fans have been calling it ever since it was revealed. After all, it's supersonic, but elevated to an even higher level. And if we're working on Dragon Ball Z logic, it makes total sense. But what if I told you that calling this form Supersonic 2 would actually be inaccurate? To understand what I mean, we first need to break apart what this form even is. This quote-unquote Supersonic 2 transformation is supersonic elevated by the power of controlled cyber corruption. It's an extremely situational form that could only have been achieved through the circumstances given to Sonic within the events of Sonic Frontiers, meaning Sonic reaching this form with only the 7 Chaos Emeralds is something he'd never be able to achieve. Thus, I don't think calling this form Supersonic 2 is even accurate. This form is a synthesis of Supersonic's powers combined with the cyber corruption of the Starfall Islands. It's not just an enhancement of Supersonic, it's the result of merging 2 distinct power sources to create an entirely new entity, what I like to call Starfall Supersonic. Like I said, I don't think this form should be labeled as Supersonic 2. And another big reason for this is that this form, unfortunately, will probably never be seen again. Without being infected by the End's cyber corruption, this form just isn't possible for Sonic to achieve. And with the End defeated, Sonic is no longer corrupted, thus making transforming into Starfall Supersonic an impossible task. So a question I'm sure a lot of you have is, are Starfall Supersonic and Cybersonic at all related to Hypersonic? And the answer is, most likely no. These two seem to be their own branch of forms apart from Hypersonic. While Hypersonic comes from ascending the Chaos Emerald's power with the Master Emerald, Starfall Supersonic comes from combining the power of the Chaos Emeralds with the mastery over the cyber corruption, or in Cybersonic's case, the complete unleashing of the cyber corruption's influence. So what form is the strongest? Well, as it is now, I don't think we have enough information to accurately power scale each form against each other, but we can make a few guesses. Here's what I think. When it comes to Hypersonic versus Starfall Supersonic, I want to say that Hypersonic wins out since its power comes purely from not only the 7 Chaos Emeralds, but the 7 Chaos Emeralds amplified by the Master Emerald. These are pretty much the strongest items in the entire Sonic universe at play at the same time here. But if we're talking about Cybersonic, it's honestly hard to say. Similar to the Fleetway Supersonic form, the main reason this form is considered extra powerful is because of the lack of restraint. Where Starfall Supersonic is Sonic using the cyber corruption in a controlled state, using only bits and pieces of its power in order to maintain his humanity, Cybersonic is Sonic letting go and allowing the cyber corruption to completely consume him. And it's not just the lack of restraint, I mean, just look at their eyes. So I'm not sure if Cybersonic is stronger than Hypersonic or not. But look me in the eye and tell me a hypothetical fight between the two wouldn't be the coolest thing ever. So we know that it's possible to go beyond Supersonic. It's been done before with Hypersonic, and now with Starfall Supersonic and Cybersonic. But now it's time to ask once again, is it possible to go even further beyond? I think in theory, it is. It seems that ascending past Supersonic comes from combining various power sources. So in theory, what if Sonic were to combine all 3? If my understanding is correct, if some kind of situation happened where a cyber-corrupted Sonic had access to all 7 Chaos Emeralds powered by the Master Emerald, a Starfall Hypersonic or even a Hyper Cybersonic could totally exist. Or what if Sonic were to combine other power sources with the Chaos Emeralds? Like perhaps the Soul Emeralds from Blaze's dimension, or the Time Stones from Sonic CD. What about the Chaos Rings from Knuckles Chaotix? The Phantom Ruby from Sonic Forces? I feel like in the future, combining several sources of power in this kind of way could lead to some awesome transformations. So if Sonic is ever in need of more power, I think there's a lot Sonic Team could do to give us something new. Anyways, huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Trying to quit your bad habits? Why not try Fume? Instead of electronics and vapor, Fume is completely natural and uses flavored air. You've got a ton of great flavors like maple pepper, white cranberry, sparkling grapefruit, raspberry lemon, crisp mint, and my personal favorite, orange vanilla. Just pop a flavor core into your device, it's as simple as that. It comes with adjustable airflow and movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing while breaking your habit. So join over over 150,000 customers who have made the switch with Fume. Use the link in my description, scan the QR code, or use code chaomix for 10% off when you order the Journey Pack today. And make sure to try out the new base attachment, which doubles as a weighted stand to rest your Fume on, and a nice little fidget toy. Huge thank you to Fume for sponsoring this video. If you liked it, leave a fat like and subscribe for even more way past cool Sonic content such as this. Huge thank you to my amazing channel members, and with all that being said, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Peace.